Vocabulary, communication and personality. 1. To hide one's light under a bushel, meaning to conceal one's talents and skills. Example, please don't hide your light under a bushel. The society needs your valuable expertise. 2. To throw a tantrum, meaning to become very angry and unreasonable. Example, when you are a grown-up, you don't throw a tantrum. If something offends you, you discuss it. 3. To stamp one's mark on something, meaning to affect or change something in a way that allows people to recognize one's influence. Example, she has stamped her own mark on the British film industry. 4. A clash of personalities, meaning a situation in which two people disagree because they have very different personalities. Example, there had been a clash of personalities between the two leaders over the question of defense policy. 5. To have a superiority complex, meaning to have a feeling that one is superior to others. Example, she has a superiority complex, imagining that she is somehow better at everything than her classmates. 6. To hear something through the grapevine, meaning to hear news from someone who heard that news from someone else, to learn of something informally and unofficially by means of gossip or rumor. Example, never believe the gossip that you hear through the grapevine. Always try to find the truth from an official source. 7. To act one's age, meaning to behave in a way suitable for someone as old as you are. Example, during the most recent years of her career, Madonna has faced criticism for her revealing outfits, her outrageous performances, and her decision to collaborate with her younger contemporaries, with many calling for her to act her age. 8. Codes of conduct, meaning voluntary rules which people accept in a situation. Example, the code of conduct is voluntary, but it is seen as a sign of best practice. 9. To assimilate knowledge, meaning to absorb and understand knowledge. Example, some people claim that children assimilate knowledge more easily than adults, citing studies into the way that young children learn. 10. To marshal facts, meaning to organize facts in support of an idea. Example, his tutor asked him to marshal facts on the history of China in preparation for the exam. 11. To be a team player, meaning a person who willingly cooperates with others. Example, employees who are good team players are more likely to be selected for promotion. 12. The downfall of communication, meaning the decline of communication. Example, texting and social media are causing the downfall of society's interpersonal communication. 13. A breakdown in communications, meaning a misunderstanding which results from people failing to discuss and resolve something. Example, the dispute between the workers and the employer was the result of a breakdown in communications over wages. 14. To live in harmony with one another, meaning To live with others in a way which avoids conflict or disagreement. Example, the students who share the house are all good friends, and they are able to live in harmony with one another. 15. To keep abreast of something, meaning to have the most recent information about something. Example, this new service helps doctors keep abreast of the newest drugs available. 16. To accelerate the flow of information, meaning to spread information with a higher speed to create faster response times and more accurate interactions. Example, the new software, WildTech, is intended to help accelerate the flow of information among scientists and forest and wildlife managers. 17. Behind the times, meaning refers to a person who is old-fashioned and has not adapted certain modern customs, beliefs, or behaviors. Example, he was angry when they said that his accounting methods were behind the times because he did not use computer software. 18. Set in his or her ways, meaning a person who is set in his or her ways is stubborn and committed to their current way of doing things. They aren't open to changing, even if the change would be an improvement. Example, as people get older, they often become set in their ways and are reluctant to try anything new. 19. A social butterfly, meaning refers to an extroverted person who loves to socialize. Example, a social butterfly is a person who is socially dynamic, networking, charismatic, and personally gregarious. 20. A stickler for something, meaning someone who is a stickler for something is a person who strongly insists on that quality or behavior and wants or expects other people to maintain the same standard. Example, the author described himself as a stickler for details who loves things done right the first time. 21. To be user-friendly, meaning to be easy to use without a need for advanced skills. Example, one feature of modern communications technology is that, in general, it is user-friendly. 22. Social networking sites, meaning a website on which you communicate with people who share your interests. Example, young people today waste too much time on social networking sites, such as Facebook or Twitter. 23. To break off a relationship or to break off negotiations, meaning to end something suddenly. Example, the U.S. and China broke off negotiations earlier today on the new trade agreement. 24. To reach a stalemate or to reach deadlock, meaning a disagreement in which neither side is able to find a solution. Example, the talks between the superpowers broke up when both sides reached deadlock over important issues. 25. To have social skills, meaning to have the personal skills required for successfully communications and interaction. Example, in all jobs which involve dealing with the public, it is important to have good social skills. 26. To have a laid-back attitude, meaning relaxed, not worrying about anything. Example, our teacher had a laid-back attitude in the classroom, but she was always well prepared and committed to her students. 27. To be a workaholic or a shopaholic, meaning a person who spends too much time working, too much time shopping. Example, although I take my studies seriously, I would not describe myself as a workaholic because I have other interests too. 28. To see the big picture, meaning to understand all the important aspects of a situation. Example, students sometimes get confused with so many details to remember, but our history teacher is able to make us see the big picture. 29. To be generous or helpful to a fault, meaning to be very generous or helpful to others, even when it can cause problems for oneself. Example, my parents are generous to a fault, and they have helped me a lot with my education. 30. To make small talk or exchange pleasantries, meaning to talk in a polite way about unimportant matters, such as the weather. Example, I enjoy a serious discussion, and I don't like to make small talk or exchange pleasantries with others simply in order to be polite.